The journey between Kevin De Bruyne and Manchester City has reached its final chapter. The blue half of Manchester will forever cherish his legacy while football continues its eternal search for new love stories. Arsene Wenger once said, "When you love a football club, it becomes part of your passport in life." And as this season comes to a close, Kevin De Bruyne will carry Manchester City with him as one of the most beautiful memories of his career. Football brought me to Manchester City, to the fans, to this city. When I first started my career, I never imagined that joining Man City would change my life this much. We conquered everything together, but whether we like it or not, the time has come to say goodbye. Everything must come to an end, but this has been the most beautiful chapter of my life. Let's enjoy these final moments together. After a decade of dedication, Kevin De Bruyne, the maestro, the heartbeat and the symbol of Manchester City's golden era, officially bids farewell to the blue of Manchester. From now on, City fans will forever remember him as the player who defined their love for this club. The Premier League will always remember an artist of the game, a man who turned passing into an art form. Those defense-splitting, mind-bending assists placed De Bruyne among the greatest playmakers in football history. Pep Guardiola once said, "I bet Man City will build a statue for De Bruyne." A simple statement, yet it perfectly reflects his legendary status. There's no doubt, Kevin De Bruyne is a Premier League and Manchester City icon. Today's video is a heartfelt tribute to Man City fans and a special gift to the elegant maestro Kevin De Bruyne. His final pass at the Etihad isn't just about trophies, it's a legacy of brilliance, a masterclass in the art of playmaking in modern football. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." Perhaps Kevin De Bruyne embodied that philosophy in his game. He turned passing into a masterpiece. If Da Vinci had the Last Supper, then De Bruyne had his own version of the final pass, a moment that tore defenses apart and placed his teammates in positions where they simply couldn't miss. For 10 years, De Bruyne's quiet movements, his search for space, and his ability to deliver the unimaginable became a signature at Manchester City. He sent the ball to places no one else saw, painting perfect curves with precision measured down to the last centimeter. His assists were more than just passes. They were moments that left fans in awe and etched themselves into football history. At his peak, Kevin De Bruyne rejected the idea of parking the bus. He brought football as an art form to England, a league traditionally defined by power and pace. On the cold Premier League pitches, he wasn't just a midfielder, he was a wandering artist, adding strokes of genius to the game with every touch. For Manchester City fans, the elegance and simplicity of De Bruyne's style will be an irreplaceable memory in the seasons to come. The more they adore him, the harder it is to accept his departure. Of course, they understand that time and injuries have caught up with him, but accepting the truth is always the hardest part of genuine love. In the end, what hurts the most are the memories, and the memories of Kevin De Bruyne will forever make City hearts ache. 10 years ago on a winter night at the Volkswagen Arena, a young, red-cheeked midfielder in Wolfsburg colors turned a match against Bayern Munich into his personal stage. That performance pulled Kevin De Bruyne into the spotlight, wiping away the doubts that surrounded him after his time at Chelsea. Wolfsburg destroyed Bayern that night, and coincidentally, the man in charge of Bayern was Pep Guardiola. For someone as obsessed with midfield maestros as Pep, perhaps in that very moment his eyes locked onto De Bruyne's talent, and as fate would have it, a few years later they reunited at the Etihad to write football history together. De Bruyne was the first to arrive, joining Manchester City in the summer of 2015. A year later, Pep Guardiola took over as manager, and from there, Manchester City's golden era officially began. With experience coaching midfield greats like Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets, Pep quickly laid the foundation for De Bruyne to become one of the greatest playmakers of all time. Under Pep, Kevin De Bruyne became the soul of Manchester City's play. He wasn't just a creative midfielder, he was transformed into the ultimate architect. To maximize his potential, City always had silent warriors clearing the path for him to shine. First it was Fernandinho, later it was Rodri. And throughout De Bruyne's years in the squad, Manchester City's formula for success always started with an unbreakable law. De Bruyne and a lethal striker. First it was Aguero, then it was Haaland. At Manchester City, Pep Guardiola doesn't play favorites, but Kevin De Bruyne was an exception. He entrusted him with absolute confidence, and together they conquered it all. From 6 Premier League titles to a long-awaited Champions League trophy. Individually, De Bruyne made the PFA Team of the Year 5 times, won the Premier League Player of the Season twice, and even finished third in the 2022 Ballon d'Or rankings. But just like Guardiola, winning the Champions League with Manchester City wasn't just about lifting a trophy. It was about fulfillment, pride, and perhaps a touch of bittersweet nostalgia. That lingering regret is etched into De Bruyne's journey through European football. Fans will never forget the moment he collapsed on the pitch in Portugal after a brutal collision with Rudiger. It was the 2021 Champions League final where De Bruyne was forced off in pain, left helpless as he watched Man City fall to Chelsea, so close to glory yet so far. In that instant, City's Champions League dream was shattered. But just like every time fate tried to bring him down, De Bruyne refused to stay down for long. 2 years later in Istanbul, Man City reached another Champions League final, this time against Inter Milan, but heartbreak struck again. The nightmare at Dragao repeated itself. An injury forced De Bruyne off early. The only difference? This time, luck didn't turn its back on City. Rodri stepped up, Manchester City clinched a dramatic victory, and for the first time in history they lifted the prestigious European Cup. When the final whistle blew, Guardiola sprinted toward De Bruyne, wrapped his arms around him, and, through the overwhelming emotion, whispered, We did it." It was a moment of pure joy, a rare bond between a coach and his star player, and an unshakable love for the blue of Manchester. Yet, in that ultimate moment of triumph, there was a quiet sadness. De Bruyne knew he had missed the most important game of his career. That feeling of unfinished business was a reflection of his dedication, a player who always put the team above himself. But no matter what, for Manchester City fans, Kevin De Bruyne will always be a legend. His contributions to the club's history are immeasurable. He was the brain of the team, the one who led City to the summit in Athens, where they secured their Champions League title and completed the historic treble. Every weekend at the Etihad, fans always looked forward to one thing: watching De Bruyne play, witnessing his genius at work with every assist. They once believed those moments would last forever, that the roar of the crowd would never fade. But now, it's all becoming a memory, a thrilling symphony, yet one that has reached its final crescendo before an endless silence. In the 2023-24 season, injuries started to take their toll, and age slowly crept into his game. De Bruyne's appearances became less frequent, and the looks from the stands turned from admiration to nostalgia. Never before in a title-winning season had De Bruyne's impact felt so distant, and then, as this season began, things only got worse. The brilliance wasn't the same. The smile that once lit up his face became rare. His hair grew longer. His face bore the marks of time. As the great maestro lost his spark, so did Man City. They fell behind in the Premier League race, crashed out of the Champions League, and faced the real possibility of finishing the season empty-handed, all while dealing with financial allegations off the pitch. At 33, Kevin De Bruyne knew the time had come. He decided to close this chapter of his career at Manchester City with a farewell worthy of his legacy. A heartfelt letter to the fans, honest, emotional, and filled with love for the club he gave a decade of his life to. But De Bruyne's legacy isn't just about 106 goals, 174 assists, and 413 appearances. More than anything, he left behind memories that will never fade in the hearts of City fans. He turned Manchester into a dreamland, a place where people witnessed football played at its most elegant, painted with his magic on the pitch. His every pass, every moment of brilliance, made the pulse of the Etihad beat in sync with his artistry. One day there will be a ceremony, a grand, emotional farewell for Kevin De Bruyne. Perhaps the moment he walks out of the Etihad tunnel one last time, slowly making his way around the stadium, waving goodbye before disappearing down that tunnel, will also mark the end of an era for countless football fans. Kevin De Bruyne isn't just a symbol of City's golden age, he is the final note of it. His passes once stirred emotions like a masterpiece coming to life at the hands of a great artist. But after this season, those masterpieces will be memories, cherished forever in the hearts of the fans. 10 years have passed. Kevin De Bruyne has fulfilled his destiny with Manchester City. Now it's time to look back at the incredible journey he has traveled and prepare for the next chapter of his life. Wherever you go next, may you find the perfect place to write the next page of your career. Farewell, Kevin De Bruyne. Farewell, the final pass.